In today's episode of Health and Wellness Podcast, we're diving into something that doesn't get talked about enough. Why so many high-functioning people secretly feel like they're falling apart. This episode includes subtitles so you can follow along and take in the ideas at your own pace. Let's start with a question. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I should be fine, but I'm not? You're doing the work, you're showing up, people even admire you, but underneath it all, you feel hollow, exhausted, disconnected, maybe even a little ashamed for feeling this way when, objectively, you're doing well. That's what we're talking about today. Because high-functioning distress is real, and just because you're keeping it together doesn't mean you're okay. Here's the truth. A lot of people who seem like they've got it all together don't. They've just gotten really good at performing stability, smiling, delivering, achieving, being fine, but the inside story is very different. These are the people who carry their anxiety like a hidden weight, who show up to work after crying in the car, who keep checking boxes in life but feel emotionally flat. Why does this happen? Because high-functioning people often build their identity around competence, around being reliable, capable, and strong. They were taught, sometimes directly, sometimes through experience, that their worth comes from holding it together. So they do, no matter what it costs them. A lot of high-functioning adults were the responsible kids growing up. They were the ones who didn't cause trouble, who took care of siblings, who learned early on to read the emotional room and keep the peace. They got praise for being mature, independent, resilient, but here's the hidden message behind that praise. You're okay, as long as you're useful. So they learned to suppress their needs, to not cry, to not ask for help, to take pride in not needing anything. That kind of emotional self-neglect becomes their normal. And then, they grow up and wonder why they can't feel joy, why their relationships feel distant, why rest makes them anxious. It's because they built a self that looks strong, but doesn't feel safe. One of the most painful experiences for high-functioning people is burnout. Not the kind that comes from doing too much, but the kind that comes from never feeling allowed to stop. They're tired, but they don't rest. They're lonely, but they don't reach out. They're hurting, but they don't show it. Why? Because rest feels lazy. Asking for help feels weak. Crying feels like failure. So they keep pushing. And slowly, they start to lose access to themselves. Their body starts to protest. Headaches, fatigue, tension that never goes away. They might look calm, but inside there's a constant hum of anxiety. A sense that if they slow down, everything might fall apart. Here's a hard truth. Just because you're functioning doesn't mean you're thriving. You can go to work, hit deadlines, and still feel empty. You can take care of everyone around you and feel completely unseen. You can look confident and feel like an imposter. Because high-functioning distress is about survival, not fulfillment. You learn to survive by being useful, smart, put together. But somewhere along the way, you lost connection to your humanity, to your mess, to your softness, to your actual needs. And that loss? It shows up in subtle ways. You might find yourself avoiding intimacy, withdrawing emotionally, struggling to cry, or feeling numb in moments that should be joyful. It's not that you're broken. It's that you were never taught how to feel safe just being, without performing. So how do you change? It starts with something terrifyingly simple. Stop trying to be okay. Let that land for a moment. Stop trying to be okay. Let yourself be tired. Let yourself be sad. Let yourself be angry, confused, lost. Not because you're giving up, but because you're coming home to the parts of you you've ignored for too long. Real healing doesn't come from fixing what's wrong. It comes from feeling what's real, letting your body speak, letting your heart ache, letting your nervous system finally stop bracing for impact. You don't need another productivity hack. You need rest. You need truth. You need permission to be a human being, not a machine. So if you're a high-functioning person who feels broken on the inside, if you've spent your life trying to earn safety by being impressive, this is your reminder. You don't have to earn the right to rest. You don't have to prove your pain is valid. You don't have to wait for a breakdown to start being honest with yourself. You're allowed to feel what you feel. You're allowed to not be okay. You're allowed to be messy. Because the goal isn't to be high functioning, it's to be whole. And wholeness begins the moment you stop performing and start listening. If any part of this spoke to you, let it sit with you. Let yourself feel it. And when you're ready, take the next gentle step toward yourself. Because you're not alone, and you don't have to carry this all by yourself anymore.